Key.
Welcome to Never Rewrite. I'm Isaac Askew.
And I'm Jeffrey Sherman. And today we're going to do our 2024 year in review. And it'll be
Woo! Happy New
2025 when
Year.
it drops.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yep. So we
So
we hit our 50, right? We had our goal this year to hit 50 episodes.
that was our goal. I don't remember how many we hit last. We started it in the middle of last year sometime. So we don't know
Uh,
that we had a specific. We did pretty good though. I think we hit almost every week once we started.
yeah, I forget the details of that one, but yeah, basically we missed a couple. I think we found a good way to kind of go ahead and do a few at the same day. That way we had some backlogs going for holidays and things like that. Um, but once we hit our stride, we're able to show up consistently on the same day, record the same day, and have it come out that Friday. And we picked our actual release time, because I think before we were just
Right.
putting the video out whenever it was ready, and then we changed that to be
Yeah,
Fridays at 8.
I was going to say professionalized, but we procedurized. We
Yeah.
actually record it.
Mm-hmm.
We set a specific time to record, and we set a specific time to release,
Mm-hmm.
and that
One
really
thing,
helped the consistency because
yeah,
that gave us
right.
time to fix things if they were going wrong, but also it just made everything so scheduled.
We also we changed a bit how we recorded things. Like before, we would
Mm-hmm.
record, and I would do a lot of editing to take out uhs and ums or weird pauses, stuff like that. Then
Mm-hmm.
later, I realized it's easier and kind of more natural just to include the uhs and the ums and just let the flow go in there, and not really unless like there was like a you know the internet went out, which happened a couple times for
That
some
did.
episodes. And I had to piece it back together, with the exception
Children
of
ran in the
those.
room a few times.
Right, I had to go through and blur some stuff. But other than that, that kept editing very easy and sharing
Mm-hmm.
very easy, which made the commitment easier because it wasn't so much work going into, I got to go through and edit all the episodes. So changing that helped me stay consistent. Yeah.
Right. I know I personally put a lot of effort into just not saying and anymore. And that was not as hard as it sounds. If you just be like, oh, I'm doing that a lot. I do. And then you're like, okay, I'm not going to do it anymore. You
I
can
still
do
don't
it.
care.
It's not trivially easy. It takes a little bit of mental work, but like once you said, oh, I need to do this or should do this, it's a thing that you can
Yeah.
actually do.
I guess I could take it more seriously. I like the uhs and the ums. It just makes it feel like especially with better microphones, it feels like a real conversation you're having with somebody, not something that's
Yeah.
like super performative. I guess but it doesn't really matter. Whatever
Yeah.
floats your boat. So let's see. Our first episode of 2024. It looks like that was episode. Let's see, the subtle art of refusing meetings. It was our meeting-based episode. So
Yes.
we were going to try to have something like that every at least once a year, every so often. So
That
we
is
probably
on the
could do
list
for
as an
one.
annual episode to be
Mm-hmm.
had.
A reminder to refuse meetings for people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not going to go through each one. I'll just kind of skip through some interesting ones. In February, we had one for Project Risk with Jonathan Stark. That was a big one for us because um, not only were we both interested in following some of
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Stark's methodologies, but also it was a long episode, about 48 minutes compared to our normal ones. But it was our number one listened to uh, episode this year by far. Um, I forget the stats. We had the Spotify Wrapped thing
Yeah.
shared with us earlier, but it was something like 200% more than any
Yeah.
other episode. So
Yeah. Well, he's definitely more famous than we are. And it was wonderful to
it
have
is.
him on the show. So I think we borrowed his audience more than he borrowed ours, but
Oh,
it was a good
for
one.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what else. Scroll through here. We had a lot of AI episodes this year. AI driven testing and the two recent AI recruiting episodes. Um,
Mm.
that kind of makes sense considering the blowing up of AI
AI is
over
at
the
the
past year.
peak of the hype cycle.
Yeah.
I will be.
Um,
It's not going away, but I'll be happy to stop talking about it.
we had a few episodes with our guest Dustin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we had quite a few discussing just some interesting issues with white label CRM and how that progressed throughout the year. So those are kind of interesting technical discussions that were a little more interesting than just us musing over what flows through our heads. We're actually able to talk about a real problem more than a theoretical problem, I guess, or no, I
Mm-hmm.
guess more specific problem. All the problems we talk about here are real problems, but this was a more specific. I'm running into this right now. What should we
Right.
do? Kind of thing. It
Here's
was
a
kind of
concrete
interesting.
problem with a concrete example,
Mm-hmm.
and not the more philosophical, never rewrite pieces where it's like, let's talk about
Yeah, thesis
what is
shipping
risk
is new
real?
concept. Yeah,
Yeah. What do we mean
we
by
have.
thesis ship?
You're right. One episode we did that I really enjoyed, episode 60, was anybody could have done it, but I actually did. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like this is one that pops up, like the core concept behind that one pops up frequently. For me, it's basically like a lot of times I'll feel like there's a lot more thinkers in the room than doers,
Mm-hmm.
or people who just kind of muse, oh, that thing's always been broken, but, never really do anything about it. And, there could be good reasons behind it, because sometimes it's just low priority and there's plenty of other more important things to work on. But it's always nice to see people take the incentive and actually just go ahead and do the things instead of just complaining about them. I liked recording that one.
Nice.
We had the myth of the Boy Scout rule.
That's right.
That
It's not
was
always better to leave it better than you found it.
yep.
If you
So
don't know what it's supposed to be like, you
yeah,
might be restoring it to a bad state.
right. Yeah. What happens? What happens when things that were broken for years suddenly start working because of your good deed? And if you don't know what will happen, then maybe just leave it alone. Um, don't try to swap out the statue with a heavy pot like in Indiana Jones. um, so let's see. You had an interesting one, the Joel test, 12 steps to better code, and if any of those steps were still relevant today, many years after the original posting of that blog post by Joel.
I did enjoy that one. I mean, this is the year that I need to work hard to get Joel on the show
Hmm.
because 25 years ago in 2000, Joel wrote the posts basically saying Netscape, their key sin that cost them everything was they decided to rewrite their browser and that
Hmm.
this was something you never should do. And I remember reading it. I was just fresh out of college and it made a huge impact on me.
Hmm.
And like that to me, that's always been the genesis of the whole idea. Like, no, never stop and start over and like I'm going to rewrite the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, fix it where you are. And it's the 25th anniversary of that piece.
Right.
So we should. That's
It's
that's a
a
takeaway. That's my
brother
goal for the
ideology.
year.
Yeah. New
Uh,
goal for this year is to get Joel on our podcast as a guest.
well, it's been my goal since day one to get him on the podcast to talk about this thing. But it's the 25th anniversary of that piece. So
Hmm.
this is the year I'm actually going to try to do it.
I see. Okay. Cool. Let's see. We had the anxiety of fixing a system you didn't create. I
Yes,
like that one.
yes, we enjoy it, and we're weird.
Yeah, but a lot of people are. Actually, I think we reflected too that we were lamenting the fact that colleges generally, or at least when we were going through education, generally didn't have a course about refactoring other people's code.
Mm-hmm.
They would teach you all the best practices and normalization of databases and how you should design the database and how to they would give you assignments to make your own code, but there was not a lot of here's people's bad code, you should learn to fix it, even though that's 95% of coding today is working with other people's code, at least
It's way more
in
than
my experience.
95. Well,
I just picked a random number.
yeah,
Picked a high number. 87% of statistics are made up on the spot.
yeah.
We had an episode on resource engineering, and that was one that I had commented, one of my that I had suggested, that was basically like an epiphany I'd had after I got access to the spending, the AWS budget for a company I was consulting for, and I was able to use that budget to understand. Oh, wow, you guys thought this was the problem, but actually, we could be saving X amount of worth of customers joining you, essentially, how much they'd be paying
Hmm.
in database costs if we just did this, or to rephrase that, I could be saving you 5,000 or whatever a month in database costs, which could translate into X amount of new users as far as revenue is concerned,
It would reduce the
and
cost to serve.
reduce the cost to serve. Has yeah, better worded. But it was just something I'd never heard a lot of engineers talk about, because many DevOps people that I've talked to were just like, this is
Hmm.
the way we should architect it. Now we're going to spin up some of the stuff in Terraform for you, this and that. And I would ask, how much does that cost, the thing that you're spinning up? And they would be like, oh, that's how much it costs. This is the right way to build it. And it was just more of, you know, uh, the idea of working with engineers that knew the right way to architect something that would be really nice and clean, but not really understanding how much that would cost hourly or monthly to serve. That
Right.
was an interesting disconnect and a good epiphany on my end, at least from the business side of things. I thought that was a really great episode.
Right. If you don't want to care about what things cost, go work for enterprise.
There you go. Exactly. I mean, that's a good way to phrase it. Startups, if you can save a startup a lot of money,
Hmm.
they're a startup. That's going to make a huge impact. And if you go to Google or Facebook, you probably don't need to worry too much about that kind of budget. They've got such a huge budget to work with. They got other people thinking about these kind of things, and you can just be somebody doing just your engineering job. But if you want to really make a big impact at a small startup, make a name for yourself, helping them save a ton of money and grow and hire more people, that
Hmm.
could make you could see it making more of an impact for a small company. All right, let's see. We'll skip a few here. Uh, are ignorable errors still errors?
I remember this one. Yeah, I'm still. If you're going to ignore that error, it's not an error.
Right. So the idea of distinguishing between exceptions, like if you log every exception that happens and you don't do anything about the exception, is it a real exception? Is it a real error?
It's not exceptional.
It's not exceptional. So one thing, like I think I was talking to someone about this recently, is like the idea of like if your API throws a 401 exception, not authorized exception, whenever someone's not authorized, that's okay, right? Because they're not
Hmm.
authorized. It's an exception, so you shouldn't report that or care about it. And the idea that you want to filter some of that noise out, or you know, make sure you ignore things that are technically good exception or good errors that you just want to log but not do anything about. So if you can ignore it and nothing bad happens, then that should probably just be a warning or an info log or something.
Yeah.
Um, you had some here. Here's one on musketeering, a new term that you had
Mm.
tried to establish. Tell us more about.
Yes, that
Yeah,
was a
give us
good
give.
term that we came up with.
Okay, give us a
Uh,
summary of that one again.
Musketeering is when you take multiple difficult problems and you declare that they're related to make a single intractable problem that can't be solved. So it's
Hmm.
all for one and one for all.
Right.
And so if you have this problem of, oh, I need to add all this new functionality, which is a lot of work,
Hmm.
but the code is unreliable, but we don't know what the code is supposed to, how the code is supposed to work because there's no tests. It's like, well, we can't like we have to can't we have to spend all this time writing tests, but we don't know what it's supposed to do exactly. And we know the code isn't reliable, but we don't know why it's not reliable because we don't know what it's supposed to do, and we don't have any tests.
Hmm.
And now we need to write all this new functionality, but we don't trust anything that exists in the system now, and it's all terrible and bad. And therefore, we need to build a whole new system.
Right. It's kind of like logicking yourself into a catch-22 that's impossible to solve,
Right,
to make the argument that you must do it all. You must rewrite
right.
the fallacy that you must rewrite.
You've musketeered it where it's all coming together to make it all terrible for you. It's well, Well, all those things are going to prevent you from being able to rewrite it because you don't know what it's supposed to do, and you're going to have to spend a ton of time writing tests for the new system to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
it does it. Otherwise, it won't be reliable. Just but you can attack them one at a time.
Right. It's the yeah. I guess it's giving in and saying, oh, we can't do it all at one time. We have to do it all at once.
Right. It's all for one and one for all. And the alternative is, of course, divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm.
Single out one, conquer it, get to the next one.
Mm-hmm. All right. What else here? We've got is front end modernization a valid reason for rewriting? That
Mm-hmm.
was an interesting one. That one actually, that I think that one had the most views out of anything we've done in the last 6 months.
Oh,
Most
wow.
most plays rather. So a lot of people were really interesting in the kind of the back and forth arguments that we had about what is a front end rewrite versus like restyling, like
Mm-hmm.
code rewriting versus fresh coat of paint, and some nuances that I think we kind of dove into um, in that episode. And I think in that one, I'd also include like a real world example of a company I was consulting for that wanted to move some of their old PHP served front end to React.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what is a rewrite? Are you doing it in pieces? I think we were discussing like designing a brand new front end and one big bang cutover is our rewrite version of that
Mm-hmm.
versus feature flagging, releasing updates to each page being a better service to the customer, even if the styles are different between pages as you're trying to refresh that style.
Right.
Um, so yeah, apparently people really enjoyed that one and got probably 4 times as much listens as most of our episodes. I just noticed that now, so that's interesting.
Oh, more than the Stark episode?
Uh, oh yeah, let's go back to that one. Stark episode. Let me see. It was more than in the last 6 months is what I was limiting that to. Let
Oh,
me see
yeah.
the Stark episode. Um, sorry, gotta paginate through these results real quick, dear
Oh,
listener.
my God. Ah,
The pagination.
do the pagination.
Uh, interesting. Yeah, it says the recent ones had more plays, but the Spotify Wrapped said that was the most favorite. Oh, I think the distinguishing here is people were listening to it longer. That was a very long
Ah,
episode, and they were sticking with it. Versus some of the other ones were very short.
yes.
So they had, ones had more plays, but the other one had more follow throughs. So
Jonathan
okay,
makes everyone sound much more intelligent.
he's very well spoken.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we've got here. Oh, here's one where we disagreed with each other. It was, can you like tests and believe that you're faster without them?
Mm.
Um, and I had posted what I believed, and you were like, this is one of the few things where have completely disagree with you.
Yeah,
And
we're
we went through
not
and
going to agree on that.
yeah, we made a nuanced kind of argument for that one too, for like basically kind of ignoring tests if you're still playing around with a project and you don't really have defined criteria. Like if you're still in the playground mode with it, you can still like tests and think you're faster at learning this Nest or Next.js framework or this brand new framework someone came out with that you'd rather toy around with the new life cycles they've given you rather than try to make sure everything you've got is tested until you've really got a handle on things. That
Right.
was our distinction, I think. Yeah, and then we'll wrap up here with I think the last two we've got for the year with the ones based on recruiting and interviewing, like the impact of AI on recruiting and interviewing with
Mm-hmm.
an old friend of yours, Paul.
Mm-hmm. Paul's
Those are
great.
pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll join us for some. After no one knows this, but after we were done recording those episodes, we stayed on and talked even further, and we realized that we had a lot more to learn about this. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll for sure be bringing Paul back in 2025 to discuss even more interesting things that he's run into as a recruiter.
Yes. Uh, yeah, recruiting, cancel all your meetings, and there's a third annual episode I feel like we do.
This one,
Probably the
just
year.
the
This one,
the
yeah.
wrapped. I think it's just the general what we did this year kind of thing. So yeah, Let's see if I pull up analytics. I know we had a huge increase in listens. Our listens doubled in the last few months. Our subscribers, I think, doubled this year as well.
Nice.
We
Thank you
had
for
some
being.
super fans.
Oh,
We have for 18 people, we're a top 10 podcast, and for 7 people, we are a top 1 podcast. We're their favorite, and it's not just us going through and clicking our own podcast.
I
There would at
listen
least
on
be 5
Apple.
other people to do it.
Yeah.
And if we go back through and look at our episode rankings real quick, episode 1, the first episode we've ever done, is still by far our best episode.
Really?
Whatever rankings they're giving it here, again, I don't know if it's the number of plays versus the people who've listened through entirely rather than abandoned it, or the amount of time listened. This is just some arbitrary Spotify analytics. I'll just go through the top 5. Episode 1 is the first one. The second most popular, which actually is a fair drop off. It goes from like almost half. Is episode 4, Nozomi.
That's a great episode.
We had
That's
many
one of my
guests on
favorites.
that one discussing Nozomi. Nathan and Colleen joined us for that, and we were able to discuss basically one of the best examples of a rewrite failure that we were all working on that burned. Oh my God, I don't even know how much money that must have burned. Like a year's worth of money at a fairly mid-sized company.
4 developer salaries.
4 developer salaries over the course of a year, roughly.
Yeah.
And then a little bit more developers as that year progressed towards the end of the year. That front-end monetization one is now our number 3, actually. People really stuck with that one. Episode 3, Why You Hate Testing, gets 4th place.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to that one.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember that. I mean, I remember vaguely we talked about it, but...
And then episode 2, iteratively replace. I guess our thesis ship episode. Maybe that was the first episode where we used that term, where you introduced it for our listeners. So out of the top 5 favorite episodes, 4 of them are our first 4 episodes. So we'll have to do a little bit of reflecting on that. Maybe go back and listen through the first 4.
We'll have to go.
What magic
I'll bring back the
sauce
and the ums. That's what people are missing.
Apparently so. And then some more conversations on front end rewriting, maybe too. So
whenever I get involved in front ends, I say, look, if it's me, you're getting rectangles in a grid, and you'll like it.
You're getting that. I don't know if you used to see. There used to be the W3 schools. I don't know if you've been there recently, but you would go there to learn HTML and CSS, and you could get a little badge if you copy pasted your HTML into W3 schools, and your code was like semantically correct and had all the closing tags and wasn't using any deprecated tags like bold and I.
I remember. I remember that. From
you
the
get
90s.
a little, 100%, and I used to go there and do that to get that badge, just for the sake of that badge.
You could just put the badge there anyway.
No, it would rate it on the spot, I think.
Oh,
it was
like
a
a
JavaScript blob. But anyway, all that to say is like I that was my way of going through and just getting like a kind of a perfect. So yeah, I mean, the distraction was mainly just the idea, like the blobs. Like I would do basic HTML as well to join you there in your rectangle stylistic front end, because I didn't really care as much as long as it was that and accessible at the time. Anyway, cool.
I cared enough to get the data. I'm like, it either needs to be in front of people, in which case it doesn't matter how bad it is.
Yeah.
Or it needs to look good, in which case I'm never going to be able to get it done. So,
yeah, this is why it's great to have diversity of thought and diversity of professions.
Much love to all the front end developers. It's just not my skill.
Yeah, and much love to all the people who made front end design frameworks as plugins for React, so I could just drag and drop really beautifully designed buttons without having to design them myself. Thank you for
Yes.
that. All right, this has been 2024. Welcome to
Yes.
2025. If you're listening to this now, thank you everybody for listening. And Jeffrey, got any words for our audience as we go into the new year?
Oh, thank you all for listening. Please, more comments. Um,
Sure,
we'd
for
love to
sure.
hear from you. We truly would love if you have a rewrite story or disaster, or if you're even in the middle of a rewrite and you need some help. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we'd love to talk with you. Truly, I think you would be amazed at how helpful Isaac and I can be in getting you moving forward in 20 minutes on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Just reach out and we'll do it live.
Yeah, we'll do it live. I think we've got just one or two comments over the past year on both YouTube and Spotify from people. So we get every one of those comments. And please just ask questions. We might make some polls through the Spotify poll thing. I don't really know what to poll for usually when I see that, but one of our resolutions this year is to have even more guests this year and to have a
Mm-hmm.
little more social engagements in that comment section on YouTube and the comments on Spotify. So please ask away and we'll respond.
Yes, I think I've got some good guests lined up for January and February. So we, fingers crossed, shall have to speak even less.
Perfect. All right.
All right. Thank you all for listening. I'm Jeffrey Sherman.
And I'm Isaac Askew, and this is Never Rewrite.